What's up? It's Epic Encounters. Today, we're diving deep into the storm of discussions surrounding the upcoming open-world game, Star Wars Outlaws. There's a lot to unpack here, from the criticism of the game's protagonist to the broader implications for the gaming industry. We'll also touch on the state of Destiny 2 and how the first Descendant is shaking things up. So let's get started. First up, Star Wars Outlaws. This game has sparked intense debate online, with players and journalists scrutinizing its every detail. The main character, Kay Vess, has been a focal point of this controversy. Critics argue that her design is unappealing and accuse Ubisoft of deliberately making her unattractive to push a progressive agenda. PC Gamer published an article suggesting that some parts of the internet believe Kay's look is a result of political correctness. The developers, however, maintain that these criticisms are in bad faith and not worth engaging with. Here's where it gets interesting. Let's compare Kay Vess to her real-life actress. Do you see a resemblance? Some say yes, some say no, but it's clear that her design has sparked significant debate. The controversy around Kay Vess isn't just about aesthetics. It ties into a broader discussion about how female characters are portrayed in video games. Historically, female characters in games have often been designed to be overly sexualized. However, recent trends have seen a shift towards more realistic and diverse representations. This shift hasn't been without its challenges. Some game designers have reported being pressured to make female characters less attractive to avoid offending certain groups. This move, they argue, aims to be inclusive, but often ends up pleasing no one. My take: Kay's design is neither here nor there. She's not particularly striking, but she's not awful either. It feels like just another modern game featuring a strong female protagonist. In the context of the Star Wars universe, another female-led story is starting to feel repetitive. From Rey in the new trilogy to characters in various spin-offs, it seems like Disney and its partners are banking heavily on female leads. While diversity is essential, there's a growing sentiment that this trend is becoming predictable and, frankly, a bit tiresome. This predictability can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provides representation and tells new stories from different perspectives. On the other hand, it risks alienating parts of the fan base who feel these stories are being pushed at the expense of narrative diversity. Another point of contention is the claim that translating a female actor's face into a game character is particularly challenging. Devs often argue that creating a digital version of a female face that looks realistic and appealing is tough. Yet, when we look at male characters like Cameron Monaghan's Cal Kestis in Jedi Order, the resemblance is uncanny. So, what gives? There are two possible explanations. Either Ubisoft intentionally chose a stylized look for Kay, or they deliberately made her less attractive to avoid criticism from activists. This brings us to a larger discussion about the pressures game developers face today. Next, let's talk about Destiny 2, a once dominant franchise now seemingly on the decline. Bungie recently announced massive layoffs, cutting around 220 jobs. The reasons cited include rising development costs, industry shifts, and economic conditions. But there's more to this story. Former employees have taken to social media, accusing Bungie's leadership of mismanagement and wasteful spending. There are reports of the CEO flaunting expensive classic cars while laying off staff, a move that hasn't gone down well, to say the least. Bungie's focus on virtue signaling and progressive initiatives has also been criticized. Some argue that these efforts have come at the expense of game quality. The impact of layoffs and studio culture. The layoffs at Bungie are symptomatic of broader issues in the gaming industry. There's a pervasive culture of mismanagement, excessive spending, and a disconnect between leadership and the development teams. This culture often leads to poor decision-making, financial instability, and ultimately, job losses. These issues are not unique to Bungie. Many major studios are struggling with similar problems. The focus on appeasing certain groups and pushing specific agendas can sometimes overshadow the primary goal, creating great games. This approach can alienate core players, leading to declining sales and further layoffs. The first descendant, a rising star. Amidst the struggles of established franchises, the first descendant is proving that there's still hope for the gaming industry. Developed by a South Korean team, this game has quickly gained a massive player base, surpassing 10 million players shortly after release. So, what's their secret? The first descendant features well-designed characters, engaging gameplay, and a clear understanding of what players want. Unlike many Western games, it doesn't shy away from making its characters appealing. This approach has paid off, both in terms of player numbers and financial success. Comparing character designs. East versus West, comparing the first descendant to games like Destiny 2 and Star Wars Outlaws, highlights stark differences in character design philosophies. Western developers often face criticism for making female characters less attractive, supposedly to avoid alienating certain groups. In contrast, Eastern developers seem to have no such qualms, designing characters that are both appealing and empowering. This difference in approach can be attributed to cultural factors and market demands. Asian developers cater to a market that values aesthetic appeal, while Western developers often operate under stricter social and political pressures. This divergence has significant implications for game design and player satisfaction. So what do players really want? It seems like the answer is simpler than many developers realize. Players want well-designed characters, engaging stories, and gameplay that's both challenging and rewarding. They don't want to feel like they're being preached to, or that their favorite franchises are being used as platforms for political agendas. This doesn't mean that games shouldn't be diverse or inclusive. It means that these elements should be integrated naturally into the story and gameplay, rather than feeling forced. When developers strike this balance, they create games that are both meaningful and enjoyable. The future of Star Wars Outlaws. Looking ahead, the success of Star Wars Outlaws will depend on how well Ubisoft can navigate these challenges. Will they stick to their guns and continue with their current approach? Or will they make adjustments based on player feedback? Only time will tell. One thing is clear though, the gaming community is paying close attention. If Ubisoft can address the criticisms and deliver a game that balances representation with quality gameplay, they might just turn the tide. If not, Star Wars Outlaws could become another example of a game that missed the mark. The role of media and public perception media coverage plays a significant role in shaping public perception of games. Outlets like PC Gamer and Gizmodo often have their own biases, which can influence how a game is received. In the case of Star Wars Outlaws, some media outlets have defended the game, arguing that the criticism is unfair and rooted in bad faith arguments. This defense can sometimes backfire, reinforcing the perception that the media is out of touch with the average gamer. When media outlets appear to be running damage control, it can lead to further distrust and skepticism among players. Diverse reviews, media versus gamers. One of the most striking aspects of the Star Wars Outlaws controversy is the stark difference in reviews. Well-known gaming portals and mainstream media outlets have generally reviewed the game positively, praising its ambition and character design. In contrast, many YouTubers and gamers have been far more critical, pointing out what they see as flaws and missed opportunities. This disparity raises an important question. Why is there such a big difference in these reviews? Some suggest that financial incentives might play a role. It's no secret that large media companies often have close relationships with game publishers, and positive reviews can sometimes be linked to advertising deals or early access privileges. On the other hand, independent YouTubers and smaller reviewers may feel more free to speak their minds without fearing repercussions. Impact of financial incentives on reviews. The potential influence of money on game reviews isn't a new concept. Historically, there have been instances where reviews seem disproportionately positive, leading to speculation about behind-the-scenes deals. This dynamic can create a sense of mistrust among gamers, who may feel that they are not getting an honest assessment of a game's quality. It's crucial for gamers to seek out a variety of opinions and reviews from different sources. By doing so, they can form a more balanced view of a game. Understanding the potential biases in media reviews can help gamers make more informed decisions. Representation in games is important, but it should not come at the expense of quality. Developers need to find a way to create diverse characters without compromising on design and gameplay. This balance is crucial for the success of any game. For Star Wars Outlaws, the challenge will be to win over a skeptical audience. The game's success will depend on its ability to deliver compelling gameplay, an engaging story, and characters that resonate with players. If Ubisoft can achieve this, they could turn Star Wars Outlaws into a standout title in the franchise. In conclusion, the controversy surrounding Star Wars Outlaws is a microcosm of broader trends in the gaming industry. From character design debates to the impact of corporate culture on game development, these issues reflect the evolving landscape of gaming. As the gaming industry continues to evolve, developers must stay attuned to the changing expectations of their audiences. This means not only delivering high-quality games, but also engaging with their communities in meaningful ways. Transparency, responsiveness, and a commitment to quality will be key factors in maintaining player trust and loyalty. What are your thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws, Destiny 2, and The First Descendant? Do you agree with the criticisms, or do you think they're overblown? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth discussions and updates. Thanks for watching Epic Encounters, and stay tuned for more gaming insights.